You have 10 members of the public on. 16 are panelists.
Okay, that's the total participants. Okay. And it's growing every second. I see more and more coming in.
Terry, can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you there, Melissa? Did you get signed on?
Yes, I'm on.
All right, yay. Salita, could you put the agenda on your screen?
Yeah, I'll do that.
And I
Where is her screen? I don't see it.
we haven't done a share screen yet. Salita will change her background and the agenda will be there.
You guys let me know when we kick it off. Is
Okay.
everyone on?
We have 54 on right now, 54 people. Do you want, Angela, are you still getting requests? You can still
No,
get
I haven't gotten any requests for about 5 minutes. I think we might be good to go.
Okay, that sounds like it's a good go then.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and hopefully, people will join us as we speak.
And
But
again, let the Spanish interpreter give their directions first so I can turn on the interpretation, please.
so they'll give it for,
Ok, hola, buenas tardes. Vamos a ser intérprete de español esta tarde. Si puede, va a mirar abajo un mundo abajo o 3 puntos que va a decir inglés o español. Usted puede puchar el que dice español y voy a ser su intérprete esta tarde.
okay, perfect. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. Councilwoman Esmeralda Soria representing District 1. And I'm excited to be partnering up with our Fresno Chamber of Commerce. We have our CEO here, and I appreciate the partnership along with all the other local chambers that will be introduced by Nathan Ali, the CEO of the Fresno Chamber of Commerce. But I did want to again, thank you all for joining us today. I think that this is a very important workshop, an informative workshop that I know that city staff, when we approached them about this idea, was very receptive and have been working very hard to get the information together that will be presented. I think that it is very timely to join in partnership with our business organizations and realize that we have a lot of work to do locally to support our small business community, especially amid, the pandemic and the impacts that it's had in our local businesses. I personally believe that now more than ever before, it is important that our city focuses on ensuring that our local business community can have the opportunity to compete for our local city contracts. Every single year, I get an opportunity to vote on hundreds of contracts that get awarded on every other Thursday that we vote. And many of them don't, are not given to our local folks. And we know that there are local businesses that exist in the city of Fresno that could well also participate in the process and maybe even competitive with giving them a little bit of the information about our procurement process. The city of Fresno solicits proposals from a variety of different areas, such as construction, services, trades, and Melissa from the city of Fresno staff, who is part of this division, will speak to more of those types of contracts that we seek. But the purpose really is here to provide critical information that demystifies the bidding process in the city of Fresno and clearly explains what is needed from your business to secure work and to compete. Nonetheless, I believe that it's critical that we open the door wider to our local business community. This ensures that we create local jobs and that we recycle our dollars in a much more intentional way into our local economy, which is crucial, especially right now in keeping a good, vibrant local economy amidst this pandemic. Even in difficult times, local government jobs will remain and will be a stable source of income. And that's why I believe more than ever that it is important that we build on this. This may be the first of upcoming workshops or opportunities to really connect our small business community to the work that the city of Fresno does and where we can partner together. At the end of the workshop, we will have an opportunity for questions. So feel free to stick around and write your questions down so that you can ask those when the time is right. And also, as I mentioned, joining us today is Nathan Ali. He is the president and CEO of the Fresno Chamber of Commerce, who will also give a welcome. He and I have had an opportunity to sit together a few months ago when we were going over what we were doing in the city to help the business community. And this idea actually came during that meeting where we said, hey, we need to make sure our local businesses know how they can access the opportunities for contracts in the city of Fresno in a much more intentional way. And so that was really the conversation that provided us this opportunity to come together after a few months and ensure that you all have the information that is critical so that you can be competitive in the bidding process for the city of Fresno. So without further ado, Nathan, if you want to take it away and introduce the other partners that have joined us.
Sure, and thank you, Member Soria, for your leadership and your willingness to work with us to get this event put together and give folks an opportunity to hear this information. And we agree 100% that the more of these local taxpayer dollars that can go to local companies to do this work, it's just a win-win all around. We all know that dollars that are invested locally with local companies stay in our community longer. It helps provide jobs, and those dollars are spent with local restaurants and local stores and local local services. And it is really important for us, and we're so glad that the council agrees that that really hiring local companies to do this work for the city of Fresno is a priority. So we couldn't be happier, and thank you and Terry and your staff in District 1. I'd also like to thank Angela Vasquez from our staff for working so hard to put this together. But it's not just the Fresno Chamber and Member Soria's office. It's all of our friends working to support the business community in all of the various chambers of commerce across the city of Fresno. So I want to take a quick moment to introduce and welcome and thank some of our other friends and partners in organizations throughout the community. So representing the Asian Business Institute and Resource Center, we have Blong Zhang. I saw Blong on here, thank you. Representing the California Hmong Chamber of Commerce, Iya Her. The Central California Hispanic Chamber, Santino de la Cruz. The Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation, Dora Westerlund and Sandra Vidrio. Representing the Fresno County Women's Chamber of Commerce, Pam Whelan. And our friends at the Fresno Metro Black Chamber, Terralyn Gray and Tanya Archie. And this really is a team effort with everyone to get this word out to their members and to their constituents to make sure we have the most broad representation of folks that can participate and hear this information. And I know from the Chamber's point of view, we'll do this as often as we have to get this message out to these local businesses, particularly during the time of the pandemic. So I want to thank again, Councilmember Soria for really leading the way on this, and all of our other partners as well. So enjoy the afternoon, and we look forward to some good information.
Thank you, Nathan. Also, thank you to all the other chamber partners that have joined us and that have disseminated this information, which is so critical. Just wanted to also mention that as we get the information that demystifies, the process within the city of Fresno, I want to also make sure that folks know that if you have ever tried to put in a bid or have had, some challenges with the process, we want to hear from you, because what we want to do, in my point of view, I want to make sure that whatever process we have in place is easy, and that we eliminate any barriers that could be addressed as a result of us hearing from those challenges that you may have faced in a previous process. So with that, I'll have Terry Cox from my office, Chief of Staff, who will just give a little instructions.
Thank you. And just wanted to give you guys a heads up, because we want everybody to participate if you have any questions. So next, Melissa is going to make a presentation. She'll have a PowerPoint. She'll go through basically the 101 on how to get business with the city. When she's done with her presentation, there will be a 25-minute time period to answer any questions that you might have. And at that time, on your screen at the bottom, you will just go to raise your hand under. So if you click on the I think it's, I'm sorry, I should have had that. Yes. So if you go under your participants, there's a place there to raise your hand, and you'll be answered in the order. You're going to be allowed to unmute yourself at that point. And once you're unmuted, you can introduce yourself and ask your question. Also, if you're kind of shy, you don't want to get on the camera, you can also leave questions and comments down below in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And we will be also presenting those to Melissa or whoever they're addressed to. Also, if you didn't catch it in the very beginning, if you would prefer to hear this in interpretation in Spanish, at the very bottom of your screen is also a button called interpretation, and that will put you on the translation channel. And that's about it. So thank you.
So with that, we will pass it on to the very important person, the woman of the hour, Melissa Perales, who is our purchasing manager for the city of Fresno. And she has put together an awesome presentation. I've been able to review some really good information for all of you today. So welcome, Melissa, and thank you for taking the time to put all the information together.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Soria, and thank you to all the participants for taking time to join us today. My name is Melissa Perales, and I'm the purchasing manager for the city of Fresno. We are truly excited and honored to be presenting to you all today. There will be an opportunity to ask questions during the presentation, and we've left time at the end for questions as well. We will also provide our contact information if you have any questions after today. Let's see, with that, we'll just go ahead and get started. Our purchasing unit consists of myself, Melissa Perales, the purchasing manager, Pena Mua, the procurement supervisor. We have 2 senior procurement specialists, Mike Brown and Sandra Gomez, and we have 2 procurement specialists, Iris Yee and Sherry Quadros. Our agenda for today is a review of the purchasing basics with Sherry. Pena and I will be showing you how to register with Planet Bids. Iris is going to do a walkthrough on how to find bid opportunities and the bidding process. Sandra will review the local preference, bid deposits, and statement of qualifications. And with that, I'll hand it over to Sherry.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sherry Quadros, and I will be covering the purchasing basics today. We are located at Fresno City Hall, 2600 Fresno Street, room 2156 in Fresno, California. We are on the 2nd floor at the north end within the finance department. If you have any questions, you can call us at 559-621-1332 or email us at purchasing@fresno.gov. So what does the city buy? The city buys everything it needs from office supplies, paints, and vehicles to services and construction. Who do we buy for? We buy for a variety of departments, including the Public Works Department, which consists of street maintenance, traffic engineering, and capital improvement projects. We buy for the Public Utilities Department, for Fresno, Yosemite International, and Chandler Airports, Fresno Area Express, Finance, Fire, Police, Information Services, and the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department. And next, Pena will be covering registering with Planet Bids.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pena Mua, and I am the procurement supervisor with the city of Fresno. I will be covering how to register with Planet Bids. So Planet Bids is the city of Fresno's procurement and electronic bidding system. This is where bid and requests for proposal opportunities are posted. It's very important that if you're a vendor who's interested in doing business with the city of Fresno, that you register with Planet Bids. This enables you to automatically receive bid alerts of new projects that we post. If you have taken some action in Planet Bids, showing your interest in one of our bids or RFPs, requests for proposals, you will become a prospective bidder and you will receive notifications if we post anything or make changes to projects during the bidding period. You may at any time search for available opportunities, download documents, and bid electronically if it is an allowable submittal method for a bid. This is a free service for vendors. If you're registering and there's a cost, you're registering for some other service that Planet Bids is providing. So there should be no cost to you to register with the City of Fresno Planet Bids. To access Planet Bids, go to the City of Fresno homepage, www.fresno.gov, and at the top of the page, you will click on Doing Business and then Bid Opportunities. You will then be directed here, which is Planet Bids. And if you have questions or issues registering, there's a red check mark, question mark at the bottom of the screen here. There you will find frequently asked questions that may answer your questions. And if not, there's a form for you to ask your questions or a phone number for you to call Planet Bids. If you are using Planet Bids with another agency, you will still need to register with the City of Fresno to receive our bid alerts. Once you click on New Vendor Registration, you will be taken to the vendor profile page. Here you will be entering information about your business, such as your business type, your company name, your IRS reporting name, your tax ID number, which is very important. This is what Planet Bids use as a unique identifier for your company. And so you need to make sure that you put in the correct tax ID here, and then your address for your business. And then your main contact information. This would be the email address that would receive notifications. All right, then you would go to the next tab, which is additional addresses. You can add additional addresses here, but it's not a required section. If you go to the next tab, which is classifications and licenses, you can enter your information here about if you're a DBE business, if you're a minority business, you can check these boxes here, and that helps us when we do reporting or to see if you're a small business. And then the next tab here, other business information. Again, not mandatory fields, but you can fill these in. And then the next tab here is category or description tab. At the bottom here, you'll see the categories section. And if you click on add, you're going to be required to select at least one and up to 20 categories that pertain to your business. You can select any of these categories by either searching for the keyword, or you can scroll down and look at all the available categories. Add the categories by double clicking on the category, and it will go to the right side of the screen. When a bid is posted, if the category entered in your vendor profile matches a category selected on a bid, you will receive an automatic notification. Since the category has to match between the bid and your profile, it's very important that you thoroughly look at these categories. We recommend that you select the broadest categories related to your business. This will give you a better chance of being notified. So once you've selected your categories, you click done at the bottom right. Okay. There is no save function for the main vendor profile. So once you enter all the required fields in each tab, you will click register at the bottom right. There is a tab here called emergency operations. If you provide any type of emergency type of services or goods, you can say yes, and you can fill in this information. During a time that we're in right now, this is something that's very important for us to have so that we can use your businesses if there are products or services that you provide during emergencies. Okay, so once you click register at the bottom of the screen, a registration confirmation email will pop up, and then your registration is immediate. You don't have to wait for a confirmation email to log in or begin using the system. You can make changes to your company profile at any time by logging in and editing your profile. You will now receive automated notifications from Planet Bids when a project is posted for one of your selected categories. Next, we will go into finding bid opportunities and bidding with Iris.
Thank you, Pena. So for finding bid opportunities and bidding, you will see that there are different types of bidding. Procurement over the formal limit, as defined by the City Charter, Section 1208, and procurement under the formal limit, as you can see, is the dollar amount of $143,000. Basically, a formal bid is a bid whose value is anticipated to be over the formal bid limit. The formal bid limit is the annually adjusted threshold at which bidding is conducted as specified under the charter and requires council approval. The current formal bid limit, as you see here, is $143,000 as of August 1st, 2020. This is reviewed annually. Naturally, informal bids are bids whose value is anticipated to be under the formal limit and does not need council approval. We also have requirement contracts, or RCs, which are multi-year or annual contracts with the supplier or vendor that allows a direct contract from a unit to supplier. Requirement contracts decreases the procurement time by providing a ready source of supplies for various commodities and/or services at a fixed price for a specified period of time. We have requests for qualifications. This is the procedure for selecting professional consultants. Under the Municipal Code Section 4-107, the purpose of this policy is to select and obtain the most highly qualified consultants, such as architects, engineers, historians, scientists, and surveyors to perform the required professional consulting service needed by the city. Requests for quotes, or RFQs, are usually a straightforward process for simple purchases of non-complicated supplies or commodities and equipment. And so we would be requesting quotes or estimates from vendors and entities. RFPs, or requests for proposals, are complex services or goods not subject to a low bid. Request for proposals is to procure complex services, and this process ensures the most advantageous procurement and the best value, not the lowest cost for the city. And the formal limit for proposals or RFPs requiring council approval is $50,000. There are different ways to bid or submit your bid, which is by paper or electronically via Planet Bids, as Pena had showed. If bids are mailed or submitted in person by paper, they will be stamped upon receipt with the date and time. The timestamp in the purchasing unit at City Hall will be the official clock for documenting the time of receipt. If the bid is posted electronically and submitted via Planet Bids, the bid will be made available at the date and time of the bid opening. The specification for each project will identify which form of submittal is accepted. Here you have an example of a notice inviting to bids. This is what purchasing shall use as an advertisement to in a notice of a newspaper of a general circulation, and we will also publish this on Planet Bids. You can see from the example here, the project and the name of the project, the bid file number that is associated to this bid. There's a brief description as well as the cost of the project. You can see in that cost that this will be a formal bid as it exceeds the formal bid limit. And there are acceptable forms of submittal, as well as information on the bid due dates and the bid deposit requirements. Finding bid opportunities it will be easy once you are registered with Planet Bids, as Pena has mentioned, because you will automatically be notified when a project is posted using your selected category codes. You can search on Planet Bids for past and current projects at any time as well. Now we'll see that when you visit Planet Bids, you can find bid opportunities by clicking on bid opportunities. And this is a screenshot example of the type of bids that you may see that are currently bidding on Planet Bids. This is an example of a bid that had been processed, and as you can see in this walkthrough, the title of the bid is Fresno Area Express Bus Entry Gate, bid file number 3668. You can see on the first tab the bid information as well as the bid details. And as you scroll down further, you'll be able to see more information pertaining to bid deposits, bid bonds, pre-bid meeting informations, as well as online questions that can be submitted, contact information on who the procurement specialist is pertaining to the bid, as well as the description of the project. The next tab is the line items, which is the bid proposal items that will be bidded on. As a vendor, you will look at this list and see what will be what will be the dollar amount that will be needed for bidding. In the documents and attachments, you'll see the notice inviting to bids, as well as the specifications, which is all of the descriptions and the details, technical and and uh, and general that pertains to the bid. And here you can also see this is a past bid example that we have the pre-bid attendance list of all the attendees of potential bidders that have participated in the pre-bid meeting. The addenda and email tab will show you any changes that were made to the specifications that are required to be posted publicly via addendum. These addendums are important for you to see the pertinent and necessary information that was updated or changed or removed from the specification. These are posted on and once you are registered through Planet Bids, you get them automatically as an email notification to your email as well. The prospective bidders tab is a useful way to see what the interested bidders are that are interested in the particular bid. As you can see here, there are 22 vendors that are registered through Planet Bids that have looked at the bid and is interested in potentially bidding for that bid. And so this is a public information that you can access and view as a bidder yourself. As we go through the bid proposal preparation, these are a few tips or reminders that we would recommend is key and crucial for every formal bid. Remember that in a formal bid, the specifications and the bid package contains a bidder's checklist that lets the bidder know what is required in submissions. You would need to complete and submit all those required documents and upload them electronically if you're submitting them on Planet Bids or by paper, mailing it in or submitting it in person. Projects with federal funding have additional requirements such as DBE forms, which is the disadvantage business enterprise. And there are additional forms that are required from the federal level that needs to be filled out when they are federally funded. Questions or exceptions need to be submitted in advance when it comes to bids, and when there's any questions regarding specifications or the purchasing or procurement process, they need to be submitted in a timely manner. Contact with city staff outside of purchasing is never allowed. And so per the specifications, we ask that you reach out to the procurement specialist or the senior procurement specialist or, to purchasing whenever you have a question. And most importantly, submitting the bid proposal on time is key. Based on the procurement processes, late submittals are not accepted. And like we said, the bid submissions are time stamped as well as posted exactly at the date and time of the bid opening when submitted electronically. At this time, we would like to ask if there's any questions regarding the bid walkthrough. Okay, if not, we'll continue to the bid results. The bid results are available once the bid is opened. You can see them automatically on Planet Bids on the day the bid is due on all of the vendors who have submitted a bid proposal. As you can see in this example here, we have 3 bidders for bid the Fresno Area Express Bus Entry Gate. And then what we will do is review these bids as it will be evaluated by the department and routed for council approval. An anticipated formal bid award is announced once the evaluation has completed and is posted online on Fresno City website, and you can access it by going to fresno.gov, drop down to Departments, Finance, Purchasing, and you will see right here the anticipated formal bid award. The next page will show you an example of what the anticipated formal bid award looks like. This is updated frequently, and the bidders are recommended to view this to see when the council meeting will occur and who the anticipated awardee will be for that pertaining bid project. Finally, we just want to clarify that when winning a bid, the lowest bidder must be both responsive and responsible. Responsive means the bidder completed the, responsive means the bidder completed the bid proposal and returned all required forms, submitted appropriate bid deposits with the bid, and met requirements for licensing. A responsible bidder means he or she is able to complete the project work and has the financial capacity to and industry expertise or resource to meet the requirements as called for in the bid specification. When it comes to an RFP, which is again different from a bid, as it's not pertaining to the lowest bidder or cost, but what's best, a selection committee is assembled to review all the proposals submitted in an RFP. The proposals are evaluated and reviewed for a variety of criteria specified in the RFP documents. And the criteria typically consists of costs, ability to meet the stated service requirements, past performance and expertise of that vendor, conformance to the terms and conditions of the RFP, as well as the vendor's financial stability. An award is made based on the best value for the city. With that, we're going to go ahead and discuss local preferences, and that will be discussed by my colleague, Sandra.
All right, thank you, Iris. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sandra Gomez. I am one of the senior procurement specialists here in the purchasing unit at the City of Fresno. We'll go ahead and jump right into the local preference. Now, the local preference is outlined in the Fresno Municipal Code, and that's what we call the FMC. You'll find it at section 4.108. Here you have the link. I highly, highly encourage you guys to take a look at this municipal code. If you have trouble with the link, you can also get there from the City of Fresno's website under finance, the purchasing webpage, or the city clerk's webpage. You can also get there through those pages as well. The local preference is applied when the lowest bidder is non-local and any other bidder is local. So we would apply that local preference up to 5% to that local bidder, and that's up to $75,000. Now, one thing to note is that the local preference cannot be applied to federally funded projects or purchases. So if you happen to be bidding on a specification that does not have local preference language or the local preference form, there's a high possibility that that project is federally funded. Fun little fact here, on average, in the past 3 years, about 65% of the city's purchases were made in the local preference area. Now, we do try to do our due diligence to apply local preference whenever we are able to local vendors. Now, what does the city of Fresno consider a local business? A local business is a business with a fixed primary or branch office, either within a 25-mile radius of the Fresno City Hall or within the county of Fresno. Now, that primary or branch office must have been established prior to the city inviting bids for the respective purchase or solicitation. Now, one thing also to note here is that there are additional requirements to be considered a local business if the lowest responsive and responsible bid is equal to or less than $500,000, or for public works of improvement bids. Now, you can read more information on this if you go to the FMC section 4.108. It is pretty detailed. And if you guys do have questions, we'll go ahead and answer those at the end here. We have a few more slides to get through. One thing before we get off of local preference that I wanted to make sure to mention is that bidders are required to self-certify with each bid submittal. The reason for this is because we, the City of Fresno, don't know if you are or are not a local business. So we ask that you complete the information accordingly on that form and submit it with your bid. The local preference form is included in the bid specifications for each project, except for those that may possibly be federally funded. We'll go ahead and move on to bid deposits. Now, most formal projects will require a bid deposit. There will be instances where a formal project does not request a bid deposit, but most of them do require a bid deposit. Now, there are multiple ways to submit those deposits, and you'll find that information on the notice inviting bids. It will outline how you are able to submit a deposit. We accept certified check, cashier's check, certificate of deposit, bidder's bond, irrevocable letter of credit, or an annual bidder's bond. Now, if you will be submitting a certified check or a cashier's check, we do request those checks to be physically received at the office of the purchasing manager prior to that bid opening. And the other forms, you're able to simply send in a copy of, let's say, the bidder's bond with your bid, and that is acceptable. The only things that are not accepted copy only are the certified check and cashier's check. We have to physically receive those. So if a bid is received without a deposit, if the deposit was not acknowledged, that may render your bid as non-responsive, and we want to avoid that whenever possible. So make sure to check the notice inviting bids to find out if we are requesting a bid deposit, and then submit your deposit accordingly. Please keep in mind that bid deposits, they will be refunded after an award has been made and a contract has been executed. So we do get those instances where vendors are requesting their bid deposit when they find out that they did not get the award. Per the specifications, the deposits will be held until the contract has been fully executed. So keep that in mind as well. All right, and then we'll move on to the statement of qualifications. Now, the statement of qualifications does not apply to all projects. The statement of qualifications is required for construction projects, and it must be renewed annually. Now, what is the statement of qualifications? It's a document that is required by the city, and it lets us know the vendor's contact information. It provides us with all of the licensing information and things of that nature. These forms can be found on the city's purchasing website, and there is a link here provided for you. And here you take a look at what the statement of qualifications looks like. You see that we ask for the vendor's contact information. It is important and imperative for us to be able to reach out to the correct personnel within the organization. And then it asks a few questions on the following pages. We ask for your licensing information. And here's the last part of the statement of qualifications. So what you're looking at, this is This is the statement of qualifications in a whole. We do keep these here on file in the purchasing office. And annually, we request that you as a vendor be sure to update or send us the updated statement of qualifications annually. As these do come up on the expiration dates, we do let you guys know if it is nearing expiration or has expired. All right, and here you have our contact information. So we, as the purchasing unit, we do have a group email that is purchasing@fresno.gov. The phone number listed here, 559-621-1332, that is our main office line. And then there is the link to our purchasing website. So after today, if you have questions that maybe you just forgot to ask today while you have us here in front of you, that's completely fine. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We will work as a team to make sure we get you guys responses in a timely manner. So with that said, can we open up now for questions? Anybody who has questions for either of us on the purchasing team that we can help you with today?
I have one person in attendee with their hand up. Oh. Hold on a second there. I just had to mute myself. And it's Cameron. You're being allowed to talk. You need to unmute yourself.
I think it's Carmen Navarro.
Okay, they need to unmute themselves. Either way. I've
Yeah, if you can
allowed
unmute
them to
yourself.
speak. Doesn't look like they're going to say anything.
Well, there are a few other questions in the Q&A. Maybe we can go to that while Carmen figures out maybe how to unmute herself. Have they all been answered from the staff in terms of the questions?
Excuse me, I didn't ask for a question.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. No worries. Terry, do you want to unmute yourself to share the questions that you saw come up, please?
Looks like Terry might be having some audio problems, so someone else that's a panelist can click on the Q&A box and read any questions that are there.
Okay, it looks like we have a question from Ivan Garcia. It says, explain bid deposit. How is it rated? I need a little bit more information. We don't really rate a bid deposit. The amount is typically selected by the project manager. You'll usually see something like $1,000 or 10% of your net bid amount. So if you're going to bid $10,000, it's just 10% of that, and that would be your bid deposit. If you need any more information, please provide some more details with what you're asking. The other question from Ivan is bid categories. Could you explain, are the list of categories posted in the bid information page, the request of the party posting the bid? So the bid categories are selected by the procurement specialist who is posting the project on Planet Bids. And at that point, any of those that you may have in your vendor profile, if it's flagged in Planet Bids that they match, you will receive an automated email. So hopefully that answers that question. But that's all I see in the Q&A.
Is there anyone else from the participants that may have any questions? I did want to just, before anyone else kind of raised their hand, because I did see in, I think the statement of qualifications, people want, you want people to include information of other projects that they've done in the past. Well, we want to help our local businesses that may not have that type of experience working with other, government entities. How can these companies or these local businesses still be able to be competitive enough, even though they've never been able to secure a contract? Is that a knock on the points or on their qualifications? How does that work? How can they begin to build that experience if they're, a small business in our community?
It is certainly not a knock against them. We're just asking if they've done any projects in the past that may be of interest to us. If they don't have any at all, then that's fine. We'll still file their statement of qualifications, and they still qualify to bid on any projects that they feel they can perform.
Okay, that's good to know. Are there anyone else that may have questions?
I have a question, Councilwoman. Is that okay?
Yes.
So I just want to kind of ask on what you started with your question, Councilwoman. In that, so
You're next. You hit on
intentionality of making sure that there is a diversity of new participants in terms of this project of minority business, and then also what's that strategy like about getting new business
Leslie.
participate?
I don't think I heard the first question completely because you cut off. So can you repeat your first question?
Yeah, the first question, just to kind of go into a little bit deeper what you've initially asked about business that may not have done business with the city, whether they're small or not. What is that strategy about making sure that we have some level of new minorities that are participating into this and not get the same type of results that we've always gotten?
From my perspective as a councilwoman, representing the city of Fresno and a policymaker, this is my first attempt in trying to chip away at the challenges, right? And demystifying the process, and then figuring out, once we've done this workshop and people try to become or sign up to get the Planet Bid opportunities, and then they apply and then they not get it, figure out what are those barriers. And if you guys already know what are some of those barriers, that we as policymakers can know about it, so that we can work with Melissa and her team in the procurement division to figure out how is it that we increase the opportunities for minority-owned businesses, for women-owned businesses, and for those really micro even businesses in our community, so that they can grow. So that, from a policy perspective, that's kind of why I decided to partner up and essentially provide this information out there. And it's recorded, it's live, so other folks that may not be on necessarily on Zoom may still have access to this information. So that's one. From a division's perspective, I don't know, Melissa, are there any strategies that you guys are working through to ensure that we are maybe increasing? 65 seems like a good number, but hey, I would want it to be 90 to 100%. Why not? If we have the businesses here, how can we get that number to be higher?
Ramiro has a question, and he's been unmuted.
Yeah, my name's Romero. I just opened a business about a year ago, and I'm trying to help out the community by hiring people that don't do good in school, trying to train them how to do certain jobs, concrete, tile, and other work. Will there be special help that I could get from the city as far as in bids or in any other kind of work?
Thank you, Ramiro, for your question. Melissa, do we have any process that will help individuals like Ramiro?
The biggest thing is getting people to sign up for Planet Bids. That's how you'll be able to bid on every project that we have. But we are certainly open to walking through the process with anybody that needs extra help after today. That's why we've provided our email address. We're hoping that you all will reach out to us so we can help you through this process. And it really just comes down to finding those projects. And all of our projects are posted on Planet Bids. So we're hoping that we can get everybody registered and notified when those projects do come available.
So, so part of the offer is a little bit of technical assistance to navigate our procurement process. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So
Right,
just encourage you to stay connected with Melissa's team. And then obviously my office, to any follow-up with any other challenges that you may face as you're going through the process. But I think right now let's give the process that has been laid out a shot and see if we can increase our numbers. And Melissa, I don't know if you want to maybe answer the questions that were posed by Blong Zhang in regards to kind of the minority-owned businesses and so forth, and how we can, if you guys have any strategies, if that's even a goal of the division, how can we improve that? Or, what are you guys doing if you guys are already doing work to do that?
Yes, it's certainly a goal to give more business to minority businesses, small businesses, disadvantaged businesses. And that's one of the bigger things, is to get everybody certified as a disadvantaged business if you qualify. I know that Caltrans has a huge program with DBE, and any federal contract that we have a DBE requirement. So the contractors who bid on the big projects are required to use a certain percentage of subcontractors that are certified as DBEs and small businesses. And that's also something that I can help people walk through. Hopefully we can do another workshop in the future to talk more about DBE. But if you would like to contact me, I can certainly get you in touch with the right folks to get you applied for DBE certification.
So certification is step one, which will help them be more competitive. Okay, there was a question by Maria on the—
I do have a—
Hold on, there was a question by Maria on the Q&A. She wants to learn how to bid in her field, and her field seems to be designers in the Valley. I'm not sure what kind of designers. How can she surround herself with people in her field? I know that we have some Chamber of Commerce folks on the panel as well, but I don't know if, Melissa, you want to maybe some advice or...
So with the Planet Bids registration, she'll want to select those categories for design, whatever design she does with her business. But yes, certainly I will defer to the chambers that are online as well.
Councilmember Soria.
Yes, Tara, how are you?
Thank you for this awesome webinar this afternoon. I just wanted to go back to Romero's question for a moment. I don't think that we fully answered his question, and it seems to me that he's trying to train folks from the neighborhood in order to do work in his business. And just wanted to point out that regional workforce folks have training dollars to help him train folks. So I realize it's not necessarily directly City of Fresno and related to procurement, but there are funds that he could access in order to get folks trained.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. And Romero, if you want to, we'll make sure we put our contact information up on the screen before the end of the workshop, so that you can connect with our office. We're happy to connect with you with the workforce with the regional workforce board, who does have some of those dollars available. I think we have a question from Gina, and then we'll go to Yia. So Gina, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I just wanted to find out, where the website was for disadvantaged business, because I actually didn't even know there was such a thing as a disadvantaged business, and just find out what the requirements would be for that. Because it sounds like you can be either a small business or a disadvantaged business. And are they two separate things also, in terms of what you guys would be looking at for a business? Like if a business, for example, is not a minority business, but possibly could qualify as a disadvantaged business or a small business, what are the requirements? And Melissa Perales sent me a website that's on the .ca gov that I looked at right now, and it's under civil rights. So I don't know if that's where everything's going to be housed in terms of my questions.
Melissa, do you?
Yes. The website that I posted is dot.ca.gov, and it is their civil rights program, the DBE program, and it outlines everything: how to become certified, how to find a certified firm. It goes through everything. And a small business certification is different and separate from a DBE certification, and you can have both. So I would highly suggest that everybody visit that website and see if you can become certified as a DBE.
Tara, do you want to?
Yes, please. On the DBE certification, Caltrans administers that program. As was said, you do want to go to the DOT website to get the basic information. There are also 5 certifying bodies, and City of Fresno should be one of them, but I know that that position has been vacant for a little while, and I think his situation has been exacerbated by the pandemic. So I know that my organization, we specialize in doing DBE applications. That is separate and apart from the small business and the micro business certification that you get from the state of California Department of General Services. Website in order, CaliProcure.ca.gov, in order to get the small business certification there, then go through the DOT DBE certification. And the root of the DOT certification is in the federal requirement, which is 49 CFR Part 26, which is the reason why it's in the Civil Rights Department typically, and it only applies to federally funded transportation projects that are covered by that particular 49 CFR Part 26, and for the airport, it would be, I think, 29, I think it is for the airport. So you want to definitely follow where the money is coming from for a project, and then you want to have the appropriate certification that goes with that funding stream.
So what would be the recommendation for those small businesses? Would it be to connect with one of the local chambers who may provide some technical assistance? I can imagine, some of the small businesses that are, working, 7 days a week just to survive. So much less having the time to, try to go, find and navigate through all these websites that, sometimes it's difficult to understand. What can the small businesses then do to see, what types of certification are the best ones to apply to, and how to get through the process? Because I think a lot of folks, like even Belen Sanchez on Q&A, is asking, who do I contact to get certified? She just registered for Planet Bids, which is awesome. That's what we want. We want more registrations, but we also want to be able to now that people have registered, how do we help them with that extra step in certification?
Excellent question, Councilmember Soria. And I like to say that certification is a business decision. It is an overhead that your business, as you just described, it's an overhead for your business, because you not only have to certify once, but then you have to recertify in order to keep them. And that takes a lot of time. And unfortunately, it's something that disadvantaged businesses have to do that other businesses don't have to do. So I definitely think, I know that the other chambers that are represented here, I know that they provide those services, and we do too. So folks are free to call us, drop us a line, info@fmbcc.com, or to call our office, 559-441-7929. We're happy to provide any information regarding DBE certification. And it is a lengthy process. The DBE certification requires, birth certificates. It requires, tax information. I mean, it is a very substantial certification, and not to be undertaken lightly.
Perfect. And I think, you had a question earlier, and I skipped you again, but if you want to go ahead and questions or comments that you may have.
Yeah, I do have a comment on, I'm not sure if you guys are already doing this or not, but especially talking about from minority community, as our chamber is a newer chamber, And so the process for getting contract with the city and stuff in there, I think it would be great if, I'm not sure if you're doing this, that this process could be worked or teach to the chamber to understand the process a bit better. And because it's probably going to be easier for the chamber to connect with the businesses and then walk them through from technical assistance, walk them through most of those stuff and then get them to you guys. It makes it a lot easier because some of these businesses don't even know about these programs and don't know who to reach out to, or they go to your website and it's so hard for them to understand all this stuff. So by them being able to come to us and we can actually explain, if once we understand that a little bit better, we can explain and walk them through the process and get them registered through there, and then it'll take a lot of those headaches out of the way. That makes it easier for them to get these contracts.
It's a good comment and suggestion, Melissa. Is this something that you guys could work with the chamber?
Yes, certainly. We can do any kind of training with the chambers that they would like.
So then it's a matter of follow-up. The other thing that we would do, so I know that this type of workshop hadn't taken place, and I don't know, at least not in my tenure. Since I've been on the council, I'm not sure when was the last time something like this was provided out to the public. I think that it was critical, to go step by step with detail on, just basic how to sign up for Planet Bids. But I think that we should make it customary of our division because we know that every single probably month we're developing new businesses in our community and want to make sure that those new businesses are aware of what the process is in place. So I would recommend that, Melissa, as part of your guys' division, to work in a collaborative fashion with the existing chambers and even our economic development division to make sure that this happens on a regular basis, along with, some of the other workshops that you mentioned that could happen as well. There is a question by Jay Gill. He is asking, are there any bids for providing occupational health services to city employees such as pre-employment, physicals, drug testing, first aid, injury, etc.? If not, how do we contact the city in signing up as a vendor for those services?
I have recently seen a contract go out for physicals and drug testing. I can take a look at those contracts and see when they expire, and that's when they will go back out to bid. So Jay, if you will reach out to us through email or phone call, we can touch base with you on that one.
Okay, I think that was that. Let me see if there, question from Bobby. Is there a percentage of jobs reserved for any DBE type entities? Are there any guarantees that we will see businesses that qualify for the DBE winning bids? And will there be a way to see or monitor such awarded bids? Good question, Bobby. Melissa?
Let's see. So the DBE percentages are set by Caltrans per project. So when we have a project that is federally funded, depending on how many DBEs there are in the area that are certified, the percentage of requirement for the prime contractor may go up or down. So the more DBEs we have certified in this area, the higher our percentage will be, and it will help get those bids to the DBEs. And usually on the federally funded contracts, the winning contractor is the primary contractor and the DBE is a subcontractor. So you would work directly with the prime contractors in the area. However, there are a few DBEs who have been winning the primary contractor bid. So we would like to definitely see more of those, but it just depends on what the project is and what the percentages are that are set by Caltrans.
And just to follow up on that, Melissa, so the DBE percentages requirement are set by the federal for any of the kind of non-federally funded projects, because we know we have many of those as well. Are there any targets currently in our policy to be able to help those that are certified as DBEs, but it's not necessarily a federally funded project?
Not in our policies, no, because currently the FMC says that we must award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. So that's where the local preference definitely comes into play. So even if you are a local business and you think your prices may be a little bit higher, we still encourage you to bid, because then we can apply the local preference and you may become the lowest bidder based on local preference.
Okay, but seems like there may be an opportunity to maybe make some adjustments if we really want to see even an increased amount of awarding to the DB type of businesses in our community with non-federally funded dollars, seems like it. If there's an adjustment to the FMC.
Yes, that would be changes to the FMC.
Yeah, and one certification that we haven't really talked about yet, and I think that there may be an opportunity for the city here, is the state has a disabled veteran business enterprise certification as well to kind of uplift veteran businesses. The feds have one as well. And it would be nice to see perhaps some movement in that area. And I would suggest checking with the state's certification on that disabled veteran businesses as well.
Perfect. Are there any other hands up? I'm not sure if I'm seeing any.
There's no hand.
Last question, and I'll go with that. So is your office then, or is it the Economic Development Department is the one that's overseeing in terms of, whether it's the prime or the job or how the minority business are included or not included in terms of percentage? If we as a representative of these business or a segment of the community are looking for some equity, who do we go to and say, what are the numbers that are here? How are we looking? What's been the trend? And several of the businesses have gone through it and they haven't been as to why. So who is that kind of the go-to agency within the city to look at all these numbers that we're looking for to make sure that there's some equity in terms of jobs?
Good question, Blong. So from my knowledge, we've had a gap in terms of kind of the tracking of DBE because the position wasn't filled. I know that recently Scott Mosier, our Director for Public Works, did mention that position was being filled. And maybe Melissa, you may know a little bit more about that. They're supposed to do kind of the tracking and making sure that we're in compliance, right, with the benchmarks. And I don't know who in the past has tracked that, but I know moving forward, we will have, or we already have hired that DBE person. But beyond that, I think that there is some value in looking as a whole, where are we at as a community? I don't think even me as a council member, just to be honest with everyone, has seen that, yeah, we have 65% of local folks that are awarded contracts, but what does that 65% look like? I don't think anyone knows. And so it would be great if our folks in our procurement division could kind of, dispel what does that 65% look like? Does it include DBEs? Who are those DBEs? And a strategy moving forward to help. I think this is kind of the first step. But I think that those questions are timely. And I don't know, Melissa, if you want to speak to any of that, because I know that you guys obviously do some work within your division that sometimes, we don't get all the information. So it'd be good to let folks know.
Yeah, so the DBE is moving to the Public Works Department with Scott Mosier. And like you mentioned, I believe they are just getting ready to fill that position. So once that individual gets started, they will be doing tracking for DBE. As far as general spend goes for the city, there is a PowerPoint that I put together every fiscal year and go over it with our finance department. And I think you're absolutely right. It's something that we could share at council with the public. So that's something that I would look forward to doing in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, and we can follow up. Again, this is kind of the first step in trying to move the ball forward to really support our small business community. And so look forward to, other workshops and more work to be done, and even, adjustments to policies as they warrant themselves. I have a question by Scrub Can, who says, is there a list of the federally funded jobs that the city is looking to receive bids on, and a list of the primes that we can reach out to on our own?
So all of the jobs will be listed on Planet Bids, and when you click in on the project in Planet Bids, you'll see if it's federally funded or not. And then within that posting, if you go to the prospective bidders list, you can see all of the prospective bidders and reach out to those who are prime contractors.
And the prime contractors, there's their contact information there that they can reach out to, or how does that work?
Yes, it's all on there. It shows the name, the address, the phone number that they have listed, an email address usually. So it's all provided.
Perfect. Scrub Can folks, I hope that answered your question. Let me see. Okay. I know Lupe Perez from our Economic Development Division is also has joined us throughout the workshop. She did provide, just for folks that are on this call, the workforce connection information for some of the training dollars or jobs. So you can go there. It's workforce-connection.com. And then she also mentioned, would the city or one of the chambers hold a certification seminar? I think those are kind of next steps, and it seems like the chambers are willing to continue on this work. I think you guys have already been doing it, but I think that in a much more coordinated effort and connection to the city, I think that we can all, march in the same direction. Any other questions, either from folks that are, from folks on the call, or also on the panel that may have any last minute questions? I don't think we have any other hands up.
Thank you for your leadership, Councilwoman. We're looking forward to getting this process going.
I have our District 1 office contact information ready to share screen, if we could allow that. Since the PowerPoint is up, it won't let me.
Councilmember, there's one question more, and it's from our own EDD department. And they're asking, is it possible that the city could, or one of the chambers, hold a certification seminar?
Yeah, we just asked that question.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think that there's agreement by everyone, and we will be happy to coordinate with folks and kind of continue on this, mission to help our local businesses, and also, encourage our minority-owned businesses to get involved, get the certifications that, that are appropriate for their business, so that they can be much more competitive as well. So with that, if you guys see on the screen for folks, you can contact my office directly. We're happy to connect you to any of the local chambers or our purchasing division, as well as hear from you as you go through the process. I'm interested in knowing, as you guys sign up and apply or compete, what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing? If there's anything when it comes to bonding or insurance, I know that we hear that on a regular basis. Sometimes our risk department has pretty high thresholds as people are getting in contract with the city. So we want to be able to learn from you guys. What are some of those barriers that may be there that we don't know, because we don't know. And so we want to be here of service. So please contact us at 621-7816. And we are happy to be at your service. You can also email us at district1@fresno.gov for, again, any additional questions, concerns, feedback. I do want to take a moment to thank everyone, all the chambers of commerce in our community that have continued, especially right now during this pandemic, to service our small business community, which is, I know, struggling a lot. Thank you for the service that you guys are doing, for the resources that you're all providing. I know that there's a commitment from the city of Fresno to help in any way possible. We've, demonstrated it by providing local relief here. And we know that a number of small businesses, minority-owned businesses have benefited from those small grants. But we also want to make sure that within the system of governance that we have, that businesses in our local community take advantage of the fact that there are local contracts that they could bid for and that they could become and hopefully grow their businesses as a result of these opportunities. So with that, thank you, Melissa, and to your entire team for working with our office and putting this information out for the public so that they know how they can register and go through the process. I think it was a really good presentation. And again, thank you to all our chambers for coordinating with us. And we look forward to kind of the next steps. And I'm serious about that. So I'll be in touch with you guys so that we can move forward on next steps in supporting or in continuing to support our local businesses in the city of Fresno. So with that, want to thank everyone for joining and stay in touch. And, we're here to serve you. And you guys all have a great day.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Councilmember Soria.
You're welcome.